let's travel back in time just a little and go back to April 22nd, 2020. This article dropped. Female-focused Star Wars series from Russian dolls Leslye Headland in works at Disney+. Don't forget, Leslye Headland is the former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein. Now, it might be just an assistant, personal assistant, I'm not sure. But she was pretty close with him. And then she came out with a story about a boss that wasn't so kind. Leslye Headland knew everything that was going on. I would say is probably a safe bet. But the media, of course, they're backing away from the whole idea of her working for Harvey. We got to go ahead and just ignore it this time. We're not going to talk about it because we're shills for the corporate machine. Even in the article that I'm going to go through for today's video, skips over that little fun fact. Right here. Co-creator Leslye Headland, who developed Russian Doll. That's it. Well, how'd she get into the industry, I wonder? Well, we just won't talk about that one. So this is an interview asking her some details about her show and what she thinks about Star Wars. And it kind of clues you in to what you can expect from this show. And this show is going to be a train wreck. Mark my words. Data Racer doing some fantastic work here. Data Racer 117 highlighting some stuff from this very long interview that I want to go over with you guys. Here are what the big media shills are already saying. This is from Comic Book Resources. The Acolyte showrunner Leslye Headland explains why representation in Star Wars universe is so important to her as a superfan. Acolyte showrunner Leslye Headland isn't worried about the passionate fan base of the franchise when it comes to crafting her own show. So you can see Comic Book Resources already jumping all over it. These are 2 articles they've gotten from that interview. And 2 other ones, Star Wars Direct and the playlist, talking about, how great and awesome this is going to be. You definitely want to tune in for this show. So, naturally, media jumping all over it, saying it's the greatest thing ever made. Leslye Headland on her new show thinks Star Wars is about politics and fan opinions aren't valid. Hired a writer who's never seen Star Wars. How do you not see Star Wars too, by the way? How do you not at least see the original trilogy? How do you not watch it? Especially, I think maybe she's went and watched it now, or maybe she hasn't. I don't know. Just what a mess. Representation is a top priority. I literally cry whenever I see it. And then he, of course, says this is going to be a train wreck. And I agree. It for sure will be a massive train wreck. So we've got some highlights here I want to go over because it just shows you how Star Wars is still in the toilet. And it's never going to be what it was under Disney. Okay, so this is a pretty interesting quote right here. And that goes for ideology as well. I mean, it's funny because a lot of the feedback that I'll get, and when I use the term feedback very lightly, but when I do go on social media, the feedback is don't make Star Wars political. I'm like, George Lucas made it political. Those are political films. To have the power when you're creating media to just put in certain types of people that maybe aren't necessarily in normal mainstream content or media is just, I know that for people who don't identify that way, it doesn't seem that important, but to us, it's huge. I literally saw an Orbitz commercial with 2 women going on vacation. And I was like, again, crying. It hits you on a level that you don't know. You're missing it until you see it. And then here's a question and an answer. Now you have the opportunity to talk about the show and walk the walk with this show. Obviously, I don't know if there's going to be any certain types of characters. I can only hope. But you have to put together a writer's room. What were your guiding principles there? What were you looking for in a writer? There were people like myself that were like later in life, Dave Filoni acolytes. I literally had one writer that was like, I've never seen any of them. I've never seen any Star Wars media. And she's texting me before we started the room. She's like, Luke and Leia are brother and sister. What the laughs? So she got that far into the process. Have you ever seen Star Wars? No, you're hired. Yes, you will be a Star Wars writer. At the end of the day, like, I think if you were getting hired for a job, you would go watch them. It doesn't matter. And I've said this with the He-Man stuff. Kevin Smith's running around saying that he's a big fan of He-Man when it turned out he wasn't. That got pretty exposed in 4K. And it's like, you don't have to be a fan to make the material, but you should probably go research the stuff before you start working on it. Like, that's different. You don't have to be a fan going in, but you should research it to work on it, I would think. And this person's not doing anything. What this should tell you is that the fundamentals of Star Wars and what Star Wars is doesn't matter for this show. It doesn't matter. It's literally just going to have the name Star Wars on it, and that's it. And that's to get you to come watch it so they can pump you full of political nonsense. And that's exactly what it's going to be because, well, to this person, it's George Lucas. The whole reason he made this was to talk politics. Now, if you want to say there's some political stuff in the prequel trilogy, and there's a reason that people are so for or against those, but everyone universally likes the original trilogies because the original trilogy doesn't shove shit in your face. The prequel trilogy doesn't do it as bad as some of the modern stuff today, but like episode 1, I mean, they're running around doing like Congress debates and stuff. I mean, there's some political stuff in that movie. The difference is it's not about like weirdo Earth politics. Okay. These people want to put modern issues, not cleverly implanted into the show. No, they want it to be in your face. So here's another one right here. You have to feel like this is speaking directly to you, regardless of what you might be going through. At what point in your life you are going through it. That being said, as somebody that is into ladies, every time I see a character representation in media, I scream with happiness. Here's another one right here. This is the question. A lot's changed, but even now, a lot of nerdy and geeky things are still coded as male, often specifically hot male. And I say this as a woman of color who every time I write about any kind of genre thing, it's like, well, actually. And then there's this answer. I saw a video of a little girl dressed up as Rey at Disney World or Disneyland or whatever it was. My wife sent me the video. It was so cute. I'm watching it and I kind of think, okay, cute. Yeah, got it. And then I started crying again. Now, this is such a stupid question and answer because it's like people were dressing up as Princess Leia and Padme. Okay. Long before the Disney Star Wars trilogy. But we just kind of forget about them because Rey's the first real representation. Rey's a hollow character. Leia is a pretty well developed character. Rey is pretty hollow, but it doesn't seem to matter, you know. This is the own point. Oh, I saw one little girl dressed up as Rey. Those movies will not stand the test of time, but that's my opinion. We'll see. I'm talking about the Disney trilogy, by the way, not standing the test of time. And then there's one more highlight here. One of the things we did in our writer's room to kind of break the ice was ask, who's your favorite Star Wars character? And you could tell that people, when I said mine, they were like, well, yeah, that's because you're, in a part of a represented group. So, I don't know. This show's going to be a train wreck. And I'm sure it'll be fun to cover. I'd much rather have good Star Wars and talk about the good Star Wars like The Mandalorian, which is still good. I mean, it sucks what happened with Gina Carano, and I'm not going back, but the show was good. It's a shame that they that they ruined it like they did by firing her. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about all this. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out. Also, take a moment. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. There's something going on right now, and they've been unsubscribing people. So just take a second and double check on that, and subscribe if you're new.